Oh my gosh, it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, right?
How were the tacos last night?
We went out to see James Bond, so we left the tacos for the kids.
We had burgers.
We had burgers out.
Did you have tacos last night?
I had tacos yesterday. Last night, what did I have? I didn't eat last night.
No?
No.
Fasting.
We watched it. We did a
Fasting.
Harry Potter marathon. We watched 2 and 3.
Oh, 3's the best one.
What is
Yeah.
3? Azkaban?
Azkaban.
What's
Yeah.
2?
2 is Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's
Gary
good.
Oldman. I totally was like, is that Gary Oldman? He looks so young in that. Like
Yeah.
that guy can play anything. Like he can either look young or he can look old. It's weird.
I know. Yeah, Miles can't wrap his head around the fact that he's also Commissioner Gordon. He's like, no,
Yeah.
it can't be the same
It's
person.
like two different people. Like if you look at how he is, like he's young, right? In Prisoner of Azkaban, at least he looks young. But then he played Dracula years before that and looked really old.
Oh, yeah. And then we were watching, the kids and I watched Enola Holmes on Netflix because we all three read the first book. The book is great. I do not like what they did with the movie, with the plot, but I love the casting. And who is it? Who plays Bellatrix Lestrange is the famous Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, it's Bellatrix Lestrange. So, you know, I'm like, you're going to see her in a lot of movies. She's pretty famous now that you know who she is. And they just can't accept it, you know. It's like I have a friend who was like, I can't watch Dolores Umbridge as the Crown in The Crown. Like, no, she's Umbridge. You know who that is?
It's funny how.
Have you got to number 4 yet?
Yeah, I've seen them all several times. Jennifer's just never she didn't like the acting, so she didn't go past the first one.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm like, they
They're
progress, they
kids.
get better.
They
yeah,
do.
they're kids and they get better.
Yeah. In the first 3 movies, Emma Watson's whole thing is just panting all the time. Like she's just always panting, whether she's been running or not.
Ron's always crying. I don't
Yeah.
want to go in here. Can we leave?
Spiders!
I hate spiders.
And where's my rat?
Stab us!
Scabbers.
Oh, man. We got a busy show today, don't we? So
Yes,
much
we
so that we had
do.
to kill some things. We had a break in the...
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
There's
We
things
can't
on
be
our
talking
cutting
about
room
that. There's
floor.
enough. Yeah, there's
Right
enough
there.
about killing and stuff on the internet right now. We don't need to add to that fire.
Get this thing in here.
Speaking
But
of killing, we did I'm going to give James Bond, the 5th Daniel Craig installment, 2 thumbs up. I will
Really?
do no
Let's
spoilers.
hear your no spoiler review.
Let me think.
What really did it for
I
you?
think it was a good end to this run of 5 films for Daniel
Yes.
Craig. I think it was a fitting end to this narrative.
And it's a lot like most Bond films where even if you can't really follow the plot and you're like, why does he want her? Why is he chasing her? Why do we need to kill this guy now? You still can enjoy it even if some of the nuance is lost on you because most of the time we actually watch British films with subtitles on because there's some
It's hard to
lost in
understand.
translation.
Yeah, like The Crown. We'll even watch The Crown with subtitles on.
Like he said, there's a scene where he's talking to his girlfriend and he's like, oh, are we going to have a row about this? And I always thought that word was row.
Uh-huh.
Like
Row.
when you
Yeah,
have a fight.
Right.
And it's pronounced row, but I've only ever read it in a book. So I had no idea.
How is it spelled? R-O-W?
I think so, yeah.
Or is it British, like
Do you know that word,
R-O-U-G-H?
David?
We're going to have a row?
We're going to have a row
I do
about
not.
it.
I know rough. We're going to rough you up, but
No, it's like we're going to have a fight about it. Like to have an argument.
Yeah.
You have a row.
Yeah,
Actually,
no, I've never
I
heard
have
that.
one British friend who was telling me about a marital dispute when they bought their new house. She's like, we had a row about it. And I was like, that's how you say the word? And then I heard it again last night. I'm like, oh, is that? When you only read books, you don't know. That's me. I'm book smart, but street dumb.
so technically, what is it? Remember when they said when the bow breaks? Like, what was that? What is a bow? Because could you have a row on a bow? You know what I mean? Like, could you be
A
standing on a
bow,
bow?
a bow is a branch, right?
Oh, so you could, if you lived in a tree, you could be in a tree with your wife having a row on the bow.
Yeah, you
Right.
could.
Yeah,
A row on the bow.
Yeah.
That's right.
So here's what's coming up on the show today.
Hey, not yet, man.
Not yet. Oh, I want people to see. I mean, I don't know.
Giving away the farm.
Shouldn't I
Yeah.
put that up there or no?
Oh yeah, you can put it up there.
Okay, I'll just keep it up there. We got a lot. We got a juicy.
What did you think about James Bond? Like, is it something that people should go see? Like, do you have to have like context?
It's popcorn. It's just a great popcorn movie, and the some of the set pieces, some of the crazy stunts are just off the charts. Him on the motorcycle and in Italy was pretty awesome. Even
is he another one that does his own stunts?
He does a lot of them. Yeah, he does a lot of the stunts. He still has a stunt double for obvious scenes, but
for nude scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
for nude scenes. Yeah. Yeah.
There was one scene where they're all on the bathing, like they're in bathing suits, and she doesn't come out of the water. She's swimming, and so you don't get that like Bond girl leaving the water, scene. And I was
total
like,
bummer.
I was like, that's fine. But then they flash to him, and he's got his shirt on, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Are we even at a Bond film?
Right. But then we got some of that a little bit later.
We did eventually. I don't think you ever get her in a bikini.
No, that was a tragedy.
But you do get him with his shirt on and in the shower. Yeah. And apparently it takes him a year to get in shape for a Bond film.
A year.
Oh, wow.
So like if any dudes are out there watching this, they're like, man, I got to look like Daniel Craig. Just know.
Do you have a year?
Do you have a year and a full-time physical trainer and millions of dollars? Like, okay.
Wow.
Once you
I
got all
like
that.
at most 12 hours to get ready for this show.
Yeah.
So I do not look anything. Great. Yeah. I was watching a film that has Nicolas Cage in it. I can't remember the name, but he was being pulled out in this town, and it shows him walking out, and he's in kind of like the like Jesus pants, like not a toga, but like where it's wrapped around just his waist, like kind of like a diaper.
Right.
And he's walking out, and he's in chains or whatever, and it's like his chest is all chiseled, and there's no hair on him or anything, and then it goes around and comes to the front, and he's standing there. Then it's him actually with his hairy chest and everything. I was like, what the heck? Because he had like ripped abs and everything when he was first walking out, but then when it did the spin around, it was actually his body. It was really strange. Like nobody caught that. Like you couldn't just at least shave Nicolas Cage so it looks somewhat the same.
So it was like it was a body double.
Yeah, it was an obvious body double that was all ripped and strong, and then it goes to Nicholas, and at his age, he's sagging a little bit. He's not like buff like he used to be.
I often play the body double for a lot of the different Bond films. So what they'll use my body.
No, that you're confusing that with Austin Powers.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
I
you,
would believe
Mr. Tinkles.
I would believe Robert Downey Jr. You do kind of your mannerisms and stuff are a lot like him. Although I think he's only like what 5'6", 5'7".
He's short, right? Robert.
Yeah.
Stop it! I'm not going to get over this.
Where's my Iron Man helmet?
Yeah.
Where's my Iron Man helmet? Yeah, I'm 6'2". I'm 6'2", so I think a lot of those guys are small. Like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is well known to be a small guy.
Yeah.
So is Robert Downey.
You know who else I've met in person is his dad is married to Barbara. Josh Brolin is not very tall either. I've met him
really?
in person. Mm-hmm.
He does. His stature looks tall.
Yes, and he's Thanos, right? So you'd think he's humongous. He's not. He's about I would say 5'7", 5'8". Handsome as a devil, even in person.
He is one of the handsome ones.
Yeah.
He's in what's that? He's in Dune. Did you just watch the Dune movie at all?
No, we got to read the book. Remember, we're behind.
Oh, that's
on the
right.
book.
Yeah. Did you read James Bond first before you went and saw it?
Well, there is no James Bond of this film, but I have read. So I got your mom. I think got me a couple of the Bond books, the Ian Fleming books. So I've read. I just this summer I read Casino Royale, which is very true to the movie. Based on, and this was the first Bond book. So Casino Royale, and then I read Live and Let Die, which I've never actually seen that movie. But so I've read the first two, and then the third book in the series is Moonraker, and that's next to my list to read.
Yeah,
Moonraker is one of those that sticks out to me because of the Jaws guy, like that. I just remembered that as a kid seeing Jaws and those silver teeth.
Like, was it Roy Schneider? Roy Scheider?
Something like that. I don't think that you're thinking of. That's the guy that's on Saturday Night Live, I think, isn't it? No, that's Schneider. Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
You can see how you could miss those, confuse those two.
Oh man.
Roy Scheider was Jaws, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Roy Scheider was Jaws.
Jaws the movie, but not Jaws in Moonraker. That was that big, tall dude. That big.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. All right. There's Grover. He's got his sweater on. He's got
He
his
does have
Natalie-
that sweater.
Natalie, a ton of people are saying your hair is fire today. It looks great.
Oh, I did the blowout. I told you.
Is that a blowout? I thought it'd be like fuller, like volume.
No, a blowout just smooths it out.
Oh.
And it is
other-
fuller.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just actually I could be bothered to do it. So
It's fuller. It's not
mine's blown out.
teased.
it's not teased. No backcombing today.
No teasing.
No.
All right. Is the countdown timer done? Are we done?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
we're done. We're
So
ready to go. We're just waiting on you.
All right. Before you turn on members only chat, let me know in the.
I think I'm gonna get a tissue.
Okay.
I foresee an incident, so you go ahead. We're
Okay.
almost ready.
Go get a tissue. Yeah, she still has a little cold. Before we get started with the show, let me know in the chat if you're new here. So drop us a line. Let us know if you're new here to the show. If you've never watched us before, just say, hey, I'm new, and we will welcome you with open arms. The only thing you need to do is subscribe to the channel so you can actually chat along with us. We have it on. We have it set to subscriber only chat right now. So just subscribe, and then you can say, hey, I'm new here, and we'd like to welcome you with open arms. I see Arlene Maros is here. Derek Eads is here. House of Judea is here. House of Judea is saying that, Natalie, you could be a Bond girl.
No.
I like that.
I got a 3-kid body. They don't want that.
3-kid body.
3 kids.
Give me a break. That's a real body.
It's a real body. I've had 3 kids out of this real body.
Charmaine
3
Craig.
real kids.
3 real kids, yeah. Charmaine Craigwell is here. Says, Clayton. Hey, Charmaine. Steve Peterson is here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Guide Mystery Publishing Incorporated. Mr. Link Stinkin. I like that. Mr. Link Stinkin.
Yes, I do too.
What's up
That's a
with my
great Halloween name.
Mr. Link Stinkin says, what's up, my reefer peeps?
What are you going as Halloween? I'm going as Mr. Link Stinkin'.
I'm going as Mr. Link Stinkin. Yes. Let's see. Longtime listener from Texas, Troy Williams. Jonathan Clayman is here. Hey, I'm old, but good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, you good? You got your not napkins. Tissue. You're all set.
All set.
Okay.
This is Costco brand, and it was not.
Hey, another great newsletter this morning, you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, thank you. You guys read the newsletter? We had a couple hundred new subscribers today. I'm super excited.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're here from the newsletter.
Yeah. If you're here from the newsletter for the very first time, let us know in the chat if you're new to the show.
And word on the street is that we might be getting some kind of recipe tomorrow.
Oh, yes, that's right. I have to write it up. I don't have, Barefoot Contessa has her recipe tester. She has her personal assistant test the recipe she writes. So I don't have one of those. I'm just going to try and go on the fly.
Do you just do it from your head?
Yes.
Oh, because I was going to say, even if you had a picture, you can take a picture with your new phone and it'll make it text.
Yeah, I don't have.
She just does it from memory.
Make it.
What's interesting with her recipes, though, she'll
Clayton,
sometimes...
you're gonna get in trouble. I know where he's going with this, and he's wrong.
Stop myself.
Yeah.
Note to self: if you feel yourself going down that rabbit hole as a husband, just stop. Just stop. Okay. All right.
Do you want to eat tonight?
All right. Hey, it's showtime. Welcome in. Is Grover ready? Grover, are you ready? So this morning we were driving back from the car dealership. We had to go get our car fixed, and we saw this brown mini pincher. It looked exactly like Grover, like 2 miles from our house, like just along the side of the road.
Same blue collar, even.
Yeah, same little blue collar, just running along the side of the road. And I slammed on the brakes. I'm like, "Why is that Grover?" Natalie's like, "That's Grover." We were both ready to jump out.
But
in
he
traffic.
had one of those cut tails, and I was like, "That's not Grover. We didn't cut his tail."
Then we got home and Grover was still in his sweater.
Oh my gosh, he's already lost his tail.
Man, it's been a rough morning. He lost his tail. By the way, we're like,
His
where's
cardigan?
his sweater? His cardigan is missing. Oh man, he's a homeless dog. But he was okay. He was actually at home on the couch. So That other dog, I've seen that dog before, so he just like goes around the woods.
He's a Grover doppelganger.
Yeah, he's a Grover doppelganger. His name is Tover.
Or just Rover.
Rover. All right, let's do it, shall we? Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, October 27th. On today's show, Democrats have a plan to tax the rich, which could save the stimulus plan altogether. Ron Wyden out of Oregon sort of riding in on his horse at the last minute to save the stimulus plan. But I will say at this hour, according to the Washington Post this morning, there are two key sticking points in this massive stimulus package. So it looks like we're getting very close to this being a reality. We'll tell you what those two main sticking points are this morning.
And Clayton would like to tell you all his theories about the JFK documents. Why is the CIA hiding what actually happened to the 35th president of the United States? And why is President Biden going along with secrecy when he promised us open arm documents?
Yes, we got to get to the bottom of this JFK thing. This story is crazy. And here's a new trend, job ghosting. So these employers, they say, yeah, great, come on in for an interview at Tuesday at 10 a.m., and all these prospective employees are saying, I'm just not showing up. Ghosting, job ghosting is the new trend. Morning Invest starts right now on this Wednesday.
If I tried job ghosting, Clayton just comes downstairs and it's like, get upstairs.
Get upstairs.
We got a show to do.
Show's starting. You can't ghost.
That wouldn't work for me.
Because I know where you live. Hey, everyone. I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
And this is the show that I don't think you can get this type of news on your mainstream media news, do you?
Well, from a married couple that is cranky.
Cranky married couple. We try to give you the news in kind of in a smarter way, right? Is that the best
Yes. Way? Well, when we set our intention for how we write the newsletter and how we write the show, it's usually that we want to speak to fellow lifelong learners, people who care about the state of the world, care about being informed, and want to continue to make themselves better by reading books, reading articles, thinking about things thoroughly.
Thinking about in context, yeah.
Yes, that is our intention.
And challenging the status quo. I think challenging the mainstream narrative that we keep getting spilled from these billionaires.
Yes, yeah. Behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah.
Do not look at the man behind the curtain. Well, we like to.
We do. So, and we are married. We are married here on the show.
Marriage is what brings us together.
It's not really. You don't even have to like us.
That's right. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Let's talk about the stimulus package this morning. So big news out of Washington as Democrats are inching closer to a deal. Of course, all of this up against the time frame of President Biden leaving town. It's always good when you've set yourself a deadline.
But why does it have to be like that, though? Like, if he goes out of town and comes back, can they just start it back up again?
I guess, yeah.
And doesn't he have a cell phone?
Right. Doesn't he have like a full office on Air Force One that he can just like deal with stuff? But no, this is...
I know he's on the Peloton.
It is a symbolic deadline. So Democrats right now really working their tails off. They're back after a 4-month vacation, really working hard right now to try to get this thing done before President Biden leaves for this foreign tour. Look, President Biden wants to be able to go to the other parts of the world and be able to say, look what we're doing on climate. Look what agreement we just passed before I left. So they are continuing to clash over a slew of policy disagreements. Right now, that $3 trillion number doesn't look like it's going to happen, likely closer to $2 trillion. Right now, Democratic lawmakers in the nation's capital failed to resolve some of their most intractable disputes. The two biggest issues right now, according to the Washington Post this morning, and according to Tony Rome at the Washington Post, health care coverage and investment in green energy. Those are two big sticking points, and also the paid family leave. So healthcare coverage, paid family leave, and the extent of the overall investment in green energy.
I mean, what else is there? What's left, right? Okay, so we get the child tax credit, probably. And no community college, right? And preschool? Or is that still preschool was the one thing that I think that maybe we agree upon?
Right. So no, I mean, right now we've got, there's no community college, right? That's just taken out of it.
Yeah.
So good. So people, Americans will still be saddled with massive amounts of student loan debt.
Or not
thank
going
goodness.
to college.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
We can't have kids with free college in the United States.
No,
I know.
we
What are they going to
cannot.
learn that way? They don't. If you just give them a gravy train, what are they going to learn? You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't stand for that. And then
So on the environment,
workers' credit
will paid family leave.
still seems to paid family leave, but again, the amount is contentious.
Right.
But like all of these bills, like so many of them could just die away and not happen at all. Like it's possible they reach no deal. President Biden comes back, they still reach no deal. It's possible nothing, like it just dies.
Right. So
Well, I think the
happens.
$600 thing will probably make it through no matter what.
Right. Well, that's of course a big piece of this, and that's a big question actually. So we'll get to the taxing piece of this in a second, because there's two things. The healthcare coverage and paid family leave are the two main sticking points. Then how to pay for it. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon kind of came out yesterday riding out on his white horse to sort of save things, because at this point it looked like, well, I don't know how we're going to pay for this, how we can even do this. And he offered up a plan that has Kyrsten Sinema on board and Joe Manchin on board. So this could be the thing that actually gets this, gets, instead of moving the football at the last second, Charlie Brown style, this actually could be the piece that helps them put this across the goal line finally. Elizabeth Warren was asked about this yesterday. She was asked specifically about the money piece of this. And are we actually going to be taxing billionaires, or are we going after just regular income workers? Joe Scarborough asked her that question, and I thought it was a good question.
I think the audio works now.
Senator, I hope you can hear me all right.
I can.
Fantastic. So, Senator, the House bill, the House tax bill plan really doesn't go after the 400 richest families in America. It goes after people who make income and not people who make tens of billions of dollars on capital and just reinvesting. 400 richest families in America, as you know very well, they pay about a 7% tax rate. Small business owners in your state that are successful pay 37% a tax rate, who make billions of dollars less than they do. I get these numbers from ProPublica. Warren Buffett, a guy who's always talking about tax me, that's fine. Well, Warren only paid 0.10% on $24 billion made between 2014 and 2018. Jeff Bezos made $973 billion. He only paid 0.98%. Again, small business owners in Massachusetts pay a tax rate 36% more than Jeff Bezos and almost $1 trillion. Why can't this get done? Why can't it get done in the House?
So look, you preach to the choir on this one. You know that this is exactly what I want to get done. But here's the thing. Here in Washington, the voices of the billionaires are a whole lot louder than the voices of anyone else. They have armies of lobbyists. They have armies of lawyers. They have armies of PR people who not only are swarming every office here in Washington, but also trying to stir people up all across the country. They're telling lies about a lot of these programs, trying to get people to call their senators, call their representatives, because, let's face it, a bunch of them just don't want to have to pay more in taxes. And, they've been running this scam on us for what, 40 years now? Yep. About, you're all going to be richer off. If only the richest folks don't have to pay any taxes. And I think we've just finally reached a point where not only do the American people say enough, we might actually get people on Capitol Hill saying enough. So,
well, we'll see.
Okay.
An army of lobbyists.
But this is what bothers me, was when we throw around these, Warren Buffett pays 8% and Jeff Bezos pays 0%. How does that work? Why is that allowed, right? It's pretty simple math. If you make $100, but you re-spend that $100, you pay taxes on zero, right? So Jeff Bezos will make $1 million and then reinvest it into something that another business that makes rockets, that makes whatever. Let's not debate the merits of making rockets, but if he invested in another business, he doesn't have to pay taxes on what you spend. You only pay taxes on the profits. So billionaires know how to not take home. They don't take like, oh, I made $1 billion. I'm going to put it in my pocket and walk around and buy whatever I want. They don't do that. What they do then is take that $1 billion and put it into something else. That's why this is allowed. And so it's crazy that like we're thinking, oh, they took home $1 billion, put it in their pocket and paid no taxes. That did not happen.
Right.
It's whatever they take home and put in their personal Jeff Bezos on his own social security number bank account, what he pays taxes on. And we want Jeff Bezos, right, to be reinvesting his millions into things that make other people jobs and money and such. The problem is that whatever you spend on lobbyists is also a taxable deduction. So then if Natalie...
So Amazon can invest in lobbyists
and
in Washington.
And then they don't pay taxes on the money they pay lobbyists, right? The lobbyists pay taxes on that.
It's a business expense.
It's a business expense.
Right.
So why don't we just make your lobbyist interests a non-taxable expense?
Right, that would be good.
Right?
Yeah.
Then
I got an idea.
With post-tax dollars.
We should do a crowdfunded lobbyist campaign, and for the people, and all of the citizens that can afford it can put money into it, and then we'd have our own lobby.
Yeah. Do you think we could, well, if they could afford it, maybe even that's how Obama got in, right? $5 contributions. If we could get like an army of lobbyists ourselves to go against the massive billionaire lobby and the banks and so forth.
Well, that was the whole campaign of Lawrence Lessig, is that lobbyists, do not put the people's interests first, and that he was actually running for the presidency so that he could disrupt the entire system. And it was just a bit too clever. Most people don't pay attention to that. They don't want to know it. You have to read a pretty thick book to understand what he's up to. And most people won't. It's just a little too, it's a little too inside baseball, and people are busy running their lives. So it will never get disrupted unless someone who acts. So this idea is like, oh, Warren Buffett's paying 7%. That's because he doesn't take home that profit. He reinvests in, and Congress wants him to. We all want him to do that, right? So it's not about what the richest people pay at all. That's never going to change, right? Warren Buffett can go next year and make $400 quadrillion, right? But if he doesn't pay himself more personally and he reinvests all of that money, yes, he's paying a low tax rate on $400 quadrillion, but that does benefit the rest of us. And so these talking points...
Well, that's the question, right? Does it really benefit? Does it trickle down when you have these corporations that we've heard? I mean, if that's what you're talking about, it's this idea of trickle-down economics.
I'm not talking about trickle-down
economics. Doesn't work. It's been proven to not work.
No, I'm talking about the fact that someone like Jeff Bezos can make a company that employs other people.
Okay, I get that, and they can reinvest. I understand that, but
reinvestment does help someone else, even if you're a lobbyist, right?
Okay, so
it helps the lobbyists.
Great. So lobbyists are getting rich.
So they have a job. I'm just saying that's the way it works.
Well, let me tell you what's in Ron Wyden's plan here. So let's go through some of the specifics here before we move on, because I think it's interesting. So Ron Wyden from Oregon, the senator, this all started from a white paper. It's like a 70-page white paper that he put together, his team for the Center for American Progress, about 3 or 4 years ago. So this is born out of that. This isn't something he just cooked up over the past few days. So specifically, they honed in on the idea of reversing the dynamic of buy, borrow, and die. You buy something, and then like real estate, and then you borrow against it to continue other purchases, but you don't actually ever sell it. So then you're not paying taxes on the sale of said item, this asset, and then you die. And then you can pass it on to your family, and therefore you're never paying taxes along the way. And the way that this works is that the several tax experts have said that they're now serving in the Biden administration, who are part of this plan altogether. For 2 years, they've been trying to convert this concept into legislative language that they could actually use. Now, it first started out at the $1 million income level. Now they've moved it up to $1 billion in assets, or a consistent $100 million in income for 3 straight years. So if you are one of those people that makes 3 straight years of $100 million of income, then this plan would affect you, or if you have $1 billion in assets. a Senate. And so the way that this works is like if you've got a piece of real estate, non-tradable assets like real estate, valuables, or a business interest, this wouldn't affect you. It would only affect you if you sell the business or you sell the real estate or you sell the valuable item. Really, it comes down to stock investments. It's going to be things that are tradable. Therefore, like if you hold stocks that have appreciated or done really well and you sell it or you haven't sold it, you're going to have to pay the unrealized capital gains on that. So really,
but only if you've made a certain profit
only
threshold.
if you hit a certain threshold.
So then the rest of the sort of hobbyist traders who are just making maybe $1,000 a month or something if they're lucky.
No way. Yeah,
right?
The Robinhood people, the people using Webull that are making a few, making less than $1 billion, right? Like,
yes.
It really does target those billionaires or people that are making 3 years in a row $100 million or more.
Yes.
And it doesn't affect real estate unless you sell the real estate. It doesn't affect valuables like artwork and diamonds and gold unless you sell those items.
I mean, this seems like a real compromise.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is like him riding in kind of on a white horse. He's like, here I am. I'm Senator Ron Wyden, and I've got a plan. By the way, wait till the last minute to give us this damn plan.
I know.
Like 2 days before President Biden's like flying out of town. He's like, oh, by the way, I got this thing over here that I've been working on for a few years.
And that's in place of the $600 thing? That's awesome.
I thought the $600 thing though is in specifically the tax reform plan.
Yeah, like I don't think that
I don't think it's in this bill.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll have to see. I mean, we don't have a draft of the bill yet to read. So until we can read 1,000 pages of this thing, we actually know how. As Nancy Pelosi says, we'll have to pass this thing before we know what's in it. Right? We'll have to get it.
Talk about how you're almost there, except for 10% of the bill.
Not you,
Nancy. So there you go. 2 sticking points: healthcare, paid family leave. They might be able to get this done before President Biden heads out of town on this big trip. Climate, obviously a big issue for him heading out, touring the world. And it looks like they may have this billionaire tax in place after all. We'll see as this thing comes together. We got a lot more news to get to on the day. We're going to talk about job ghosting. We're going to talk about these JFK assassination documents.
Clayton's on fire about it.
I'm excited about that. Do you want to tell us about our sponsor today? Are you prepared to do that or not?
I could do.
Okay.
I thought it was you that was going to do it.
I just got to pull it up here.
I actually know this company well, so I will tell you, having not prepared myself for it.
I can do it if you want.
No, I can do it because I love this company. So we're going to tell you about Truebill. Truebill is a way to make sure that you are not overspending on your auto deducts. What is that? It's things that you sign up for spending, like, oh, sure, I'll pay $4.99 a month for
this subscription,
this app or this subscription or this magazine. What Truebill does is they scan your banking sites and your bank statements and point out to you what you may be missing and say, do you want to continue to subscribe to those things? A lot of times they will find things that you don't remember subscribing to, say a music service, a video service, something that you don't use anymore. Roblox.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Roblox
subscription that your kids sign up for that you didn't remember approving.
Right.
Yeah, that happens. And so what they do is they help you identify and then stop paying for these subscriptions that you don't need and simply forgot about. They will also help you unsubscribe. So they don't just alert you to it. They say, do you want us to help you get out of this subscription, which is awesome. On average, people are saving thousands a year with Truebill. It's like a concierge helping you to cancel appointments or get rid of unwanted subscriptions. They have over 2 million users and they have helped them save over $100 million. And again, we can attest to that because we use it. Start canceling your unused subscriptions right now at truebill.com/investing. If you go right now, truebill.com/investing, it could save you thousands a year.
Is it invest? Because I keep having a difference in the code.
Again, I have here truebill.com/investing.
Okay.
Or
so it's always been invest, yeah.
I know, but just got to go off the document from that. Just let's make sure we have the truebill.com/investing. There's an ING there. They changed it up on us. So truebill.com/investing this time. They added an ING, the folks over at Truebill. They wanted 3 extra characters.
They like the gerund.
Well, you know what? Truebill has some extra ink, so they wanted to use that extra ink on the ing.
Aha, the gerund does it.
The gerund wins.
Okay, thank you very much, Truebill. I hope that you each go there. It costs nothing to try it out and see what you can save yourself and be more prudent with your statements.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Truebill.
Yeah, so I went to /invest, and it actually is the code for Morning Invest. I see it; it pops it in there. Okay. I'm going to try investing really quick.
It actually did work.
So both of them work.
Maybe yep, investing also works.
Okay, so they both work. All right, well, there you go.
Either way, dude.
Either way, we'll get you there.
Whether you want to invest or are in investing already.
Well, you are investing in yourself by saving yourself money that you don't want to spend any longer.
Yeah.
And you know, these apps, they kind of get you like, sign up for this and for just 2 months free, but we need your credit card first. And then those things like kick in and you're like, oh, I actually didn't want to pay for that.
Right.
That happens. It happens to all of us, even the most prudent who balance their checkbook every month to the penny. Still going to find that kind of stuff.
Hey, real quick before we move on, James Figueroa, you know, because I love the paranormal. I've got a whole
I've
got a whole paranormal channel, youtube.com/paranormal. James Figueroa says, Clayton, I recently added a camera down in my basement and caught lots of orbs. Ooh, orbs. I wonder, it could either be dust, hope it's not dust, or it could be something
fairies.
Else. Yeah, it could be fairies.
Absolutely, it could be fairies.
Yeah,
leave them something
we have sprites
shiny.
Here.
Yeah,
Sprites.
You're supposed to leave them something shiny and they'll give you good luck. They like whiskey or like shiny rocks, things like that. I know how to talk to fairies. You heard it here first.
Have you ever talked to fairies on weed?
No.
No. I'd like to try that.
Not.
All right, let's move on with the news, guys, shall we? Let's talk about this permanent inflation. So, you know, we've been seeing the price of everything going up, right, over the past few months, and it's going to continue. According to experts this morning, we might be in for perhaps the costliest Thanksgiving that we've ever had.
You know, this is where it always blows my mind where the Consumer Price Index, they like to publish the cost of an actual Thanksgiving dinner, and it's always between like $25 and $40, and I'm like, who can cook a Thanksgiving dinner for $25? That is assuming you can go to one of those like ShopRite places and get free turkeys, which I doubt is happening this year. I've seen no promotions for free turkeys at, say, like discount places. Have you? In the chat, let us know if you're able to get, if anybody has offered you a free turkey, and if they have, it's been frozen for at least 6 months, so buyer beware.
Delicious. Yeah, let us know in the chat, like, what do you pay for an average Thanksgiving dinner? People are saying it's going to be like 20% more than ever.
Right. They're saying vanilla is more expensive, right? Because vanilla is usually is grown in the East Indies. It's in humid climates. I thought about growing my own vanilla, and I cannot. It has to be pretty humid, moist climate. Actually, I make my own vanilla extract. And it's pretty easy to do. If you can buy the beans, just drop them in some 80 proof or more vodka, let it age for 6 months, and then that's actually way less expensive, lasts you for a long time. That's not the point of this.
I'm going to get some music for every time Natalie mentions like a menu.
Like a natural living type way to be.
Natural living recipe.
Now I'm going to tell you how you save on diapers is by cloth diapers.
Now I'm going to tell you about how to remove toxins from,
I can't help it. I mean, you can buy that sort of factory made stuff, or you can do it you can do it the same way, and you have vanilla for like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And it's fabulous. Teacher gifts.
Okay, let's talk about inflation.
Sorry. But this article specifically says that, where is it? The part about vanilla is more expensive. And I'm like, well, that's because you fools don't know how to make it.
Vanilla. She's paying $2 more for vanilla to make
you
pumpkin
don't have
bread.
to.
Right.
I'm not. I make it myself, and it costs the same. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, stop. Okay, no more cutter mic. No, you don't have to cut her mic. Okay, so let's talk about this inflation, though. So Mohammed El-Arian, who worked for the Obama administration, he makes
his own vanilla.
He makes pumpkin pie. But he had some pretty bad things to say about the economy yesterday. He basically specifically said that we are in for permanent inflation increases. He doesn't see this going away anytime soon, and it's only going to get worse. So the price of everything is going to continue to go up over the next few months. Listen.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole case the Fed was making on this inflation and high prices being transitory was based on the COVID relief. When all that pent up demand, people went out, they were using services, they were buying goods, and you got that spike in demand. And the idea was that was pent up demand and that would slow and eventually bring inflation down. But if we're still pumping money into the system as far as stimulus, and you've got Congress implementing trillions more in spending, how can these prices ever come down? In fact, won't they just go higher? Final thought.
So they will go higher, and the Fed has misread the inflation dynamics in a big way and is still hostage to this notion it's transitory. But the first thing it should do is stop injecting $120 billion every month. It should stop that. Do we really need the Fed to buy 40 billion of mortgages and push house prices even higher? No.
Why are they not getting that? I have to leave it there, but why? Why is there not a willingness to change their strategy? I've got to leave it there. I hope.
That's a good question. We are not going to answer for you.
We're out of time. As if anyone cares at home that you're out of time, because you got to pay. You got to have billionaires paying your.
Wow. I mean, breaks. Yes. Yeah, yes, so, they should stop that, or else life is going to continue to be. I mean, it's so crazy. Like the government can just print itself more money. Mm-hmm. It will hurt the rest of us. So why can't we print ourselves more money? That's a felony.
So yeah, 120 exactly. You can't make what is it? Not Confederate.
Counterfeit.
Money. Counterfeit money. I was thinking Confederate. Yeah, we can't do that. And the price of everything is going to continue to go up as the government continues. And some of the data I was looking at this morning say that it doesn't look like the Fed is going to step in and really start to taper anytime soon. Any pullback on any of this money that is flooding into Wall Street.
No.
It's not going to do it. It's going to continue, maybe even through 2023, 2024.
Yes.
That it's going to continue funneling money. And you've got people right now, you've got mortgage interest rates that are incredibly low. I was looking at data this morning from Americans who own a home, and for the first time in decades, the American personal debt is skyrocketing, largely because of mortgage debt. Mm-hmm. So they're taking on these homes that they can't afford. They're spending upwards of 50 or 60% of their take-home pay on mortgages because of these overinflated prices. Interest rates are, if you were to actually raise interest rates just a little bit, it would slam the brakes on some of this crazy house buying right now.
Yeah. Why would the Fed buy up mortgages?
They're buying up the mortgage-backed securities that are garbage. I mean, they're buying up the garbage. This is the stuff that Wall Street doesn't want to touch, right? The junk bonds, all of the crap that got us into the 2008, 2009 collapse.
But why? Like, I'm asking, so a bank made a bad...
Yeah.
A bank made a bad loan, and the government does not want them to suffer the consequences of a bad loan?
Right. So they're, again, these sort of mortgage-backed derivatives that they're able to now package up again. The same stuff that, of course, if you've ever seen the movie The Big Short, this was the credit default swaps.
Yes.
It's all back. It's all back. Like all of the stuff that under the Obama administration they put in place with, what was the name of the act? I can't even think it off the top of my head.
Truth in Lending Act.
No. The senator's name in it.
Yes, it is the Dodd-Frank.
Dodd-Frank. Thank you. All of that's been removed now. All of that's been rolled back. Most of and under Trump, the remaining pieces of it were rolled back. So now all of these businesses can basically get their hands on, doing this. All these banks can basically package up these jumbo crappy loans that are filled with garbage loans that people aren't paying of foreclosures and other things. And now the Fed will just come in and swoop in and buy them. And that's what they've been doing for the past year.
Okay. So what he's saying, if I can just get my head around it, is that the United States will print itself more money in order to buy bad investments from businesses inside of its own country that are no longer following rules. So that, and then that hurts everybody else.
Right.
Good plan.
Yeah. The Fed.
That's the plan. Okay.
That's the Fed working for you. No, they're not working for you.
I mean, I'm going to tell you about this great book that I read recently. This author, his last name is Bhatia, I think, Nick Bhatia. He talks about how governments cannot resist printing themselves more money and how all money is triple layered. And if you really look at the history of money, we are at an inflection point, much like when money went to, what's the word, like consistent sizes and shapes, right? Or when paper notes were backed by something. Let me find this book for you, and I am going to recommend it. Layered Money is the name of it, by Nick Bhatia, Nik. And it really proves how, governments, they inserted themselves into money, into the whole system of money when they never really had to, And it began, yes, that's the book. It began under the Roman Empire when the Roman Caesars liked to put their faces on the currency as sort of PR campaign. And they took it completely out of the hands of the people, where it was just sort of exchanged for business, goods and services. And governments have proven throughout time, throughout the existence of trade, right? The first stock market that started at Antwerp, and then into modern times, governments have never been able to resist mismanagement of money.
Well, I mean, if we think that things are going to get better, if you think that the cost of milk and cheese and homes, cars, used cars, gasoline, if you think any of this stuff, any of these prices are coming down anytime soon, it's not going to happen. And Wall Street continues to do really, really well. Today, we're going to see, Google just announced double revenue. Google just announced double in their earnings, or double revenue. Later today, Apple's going to release their earnings, and all of these companies are doing really, really well. And yet, we could be at this euphoric moment that's about to wrap up, because now, once people just cannot afford to buy things anymore, then this sort of retail explosion, all of this money that's been funneled by the Federal Reserve starts to pull back. You're going to see revenues going down. Mm-hmm. You're going to see this euphoria drying up. You're going to see people getting scared, and you're going to start to see the pieces of a recession going into place. Later today, I wanted to put together a video on credit growth, because there's some data that I've been looking at on a lot of these businesses where they just don't have the credit growth that they had before to outpace inflation. And if you can't outpace inflation, that leads to a recession. 7 times this has happened since the 1950s. 7 times. And every time that we couldn't keep up with credit growth, then we've headed into a recession. And guess what, guys? We're heading into it now.
We're in it. We're here.
The data, look at Wall Street's doing great, but I'm saying once you see the market do major pullback, people just don't have the money. Companies now start, instead of trying to hire everyone, they start to fire everyone. And some of these data points are starting to show their ugly head over the past few weeks.
Meanwhile, companies still cannot hire anyone, right? And so this news story out from Slate talks about job ghosting. So what is job ghosting?
Yeah.
It means that you apply for all kinds of jobs that you really don't have any intention of following through on. Employers are saying that they are accepting applicants. They try and arrange an interview with the applicants, and either the applicants ghost the request for an interview, or they schedule the interview and they ghost the interview. So people just poof, they disappear into the ether.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, in some ways, people are enjoying this, because it's like suddenly the shoe is on the other foot, right? For so
you need me and
long,
I don't need you.
Right.
Yeah.
For so long, it's been the opposite way. How many people watching right now have gone in for a job interview only to never be called back, to never have the courtesy or decency of someone sending you a message saying, we went in another direction. We chose somebody else. Thank you for coming in.
That's right, CNN.
Yeah, CNN did that to you?
Yes, they did. Many times.
Well, by the way, who made off better in that situation?
Yeah, now I'm in my own attic, doing my own show.
Right, you're in a wooden loft doing your own show
with a stein in my hand,
doing the real news instead of those bozos. I don't know. I think. I don't know. I think that this is not unfamiliar, CNN. I'm sorry, but you lost out on this one.
Should I?
You're cracking me up.
I know.
I'm going to ghost them right now. I'll apply for another job.
But I think, no, the shoe is on the other foot. How many people in our chat have had this happen to them? I'd be so curious, where you've gone in for a job interview and you just never hear a thing.
Yes. Many times.
Many times, right?
It's very rude.
Yeah, it's very rude. And they just think of you as a pawn on a chessboard, right?
And
You're
now
just
the shoe's on the other foot.
You're just a cog
Well, and I'm
in
one of
the
those
wheel.
guys that when I applied for a job, I was always the guy that I called the next day to follow up. Hey, just follow up on my, and oh yeah, we'll get back with you as soon as we know something. And then they just never do. It's like, why say that?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just looking into some things.
It's
We'll get back
are
to
you
you.
really? Are you really gonna? And actually, my dad, he employs over 100 people, and so he always, used to share with me best practices. And I remember once this lady sent him an actual thank you card. Like she put it in the mail and she wrote it out. And he was like, this is a really nice touch. And I always did that when I was applying for jobs. I always put an actual thank you card in the mail. And I just feel like it's like, I know it's an anachronistic thing to do, but even still, like nothing so many times. Oh, do you want me to run down the list?
No,
Like my own rejection.
Yeah, there's a lot of rejection there. But let me read from the Slate piece. I think it's good. It says, for years, I fielded questions from job seekers frustrated at being ghosted by job interviewers. They would take time off work, maybe buy a new suit, spend time interviewing, often doing second, third, and even fourth round of interviews, and then they never hear from the employer again. They politely inquire about the status of their application, just like you, David, and just got silence back. Crickets, right? Just... Mm-hmm. Or they would make time for a phone interview, schedule at the employer's behest, and the call would never come in. When they try to get in touch about rescheduling, crickets. It's been so endemic that I've long advised job seekers to expect never to hear back from employers and to simply see it as an unavoidable part of job searching.
Okay, so then will they learn? Will the employers learn? That feels like crap. I won't do it next time.
It's Schadenfreude.
Yes, it is.
Isn't this like the perfect German definition of Schadenfreude?
Absolutely it is. But only if they learn their lesson. Like all's fair in love and war. I get it. Like if someone, treats you bad in a relationship, you don't then go treat you remember. You don't treat the next person bad. You remember how that felt. Yeah. I don't know if this lesson's going to be passed down. I'm not that confident. Yeah,
but it is. I mean, it's certainly a sign of the times and how many jobs are available right now. And finally, workers are saying, I don't want your crappy job. I'm sorry, but I don't want your crappy job.
Well, then they shouldn't have applied in the first place.
Here's the thing about, I guess you're right. But, well, that's true.
Well, not necessarily because you might not know what they pay when you first apply.
Very often.
That might be, so it might be in the negotiation process. You're like, oh, you only pay $14 an hour?
There are no benefits?
Okay, well, thank you so much for bringing me in here. And then I'd ghost them at that point.
Yeah.
Or you could say thank you, but no thank you. And then the whole thing's wrapped up nicely,
I think one thing that's interesting, though, about these people who are finding out about the low pay is that they're sitting back and they're saying, wait a second, I want something better for myself. And it's in many ways, it's forcing employers now to raise wages, offer different benefits and incentives. And I think, and by the way, their margins and record, they're making record profits. We talked all yesterday about Chipotle raising their price of their burrito, to $11. Their profits are off the chart. They've raised wages, so maybe it lifts all boats when they can do some of these things.
Yeah.
Well, and you're saying that they want something better, but the thing is, like, when you think about somebody that's going in to get a job and they're proposed $14 an hour, and that doesn't, like, if they think of like a full week's work and what they would make by the month, and it just covers their rent and maybe their car payment, but it doesn't cover their insurance, doesn't cover their childcare, like, they can't take that job, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they could, but then they're going to be stressed and struggling still.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's like, if we all could just say that doesn't work for me, and then there's no ghosting, it doesn't have to be that way. Or, then the employer then finally learns, hey, it hurts to be ghosted. Next time I won't do that. I will say, we're not going to hire you. We're going to hire somebody else, or something to that effect.
If I went in and somebody said $14 an hour, I would just start laughing uncontrollably and then stop and be like, oh, I'm sorry, you were serious?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, I'm going to leave now. Thank you.
One of the big pieces of this, though, is that these employers are, and this has been a frustration of many of you in our chat as well, but I've seen this written in a couple of different news stories, is that companies are hiring for introductory jobs. And yet their screening process is like their algorithm or whatever they're doing. I mean, Dan Price has talked about this, who we've talked about here on the show, this idea that their screening process is all out of whack and their algorithm is all out of whack. So they're saying we want an entry-level person, and yet then their algorithm that's screening these resumes says, oh, we need 3 to 5 years worth of experience. Well, no wonder they have no people getting through their algorithm. So they maybe have 50 people applying, and no one's getting through their algorithm fence or sieve or net or whatever, and then they can't hire anyone. So then you got to change your algorithm.
Well, and also when I hear entry level, that to me sounds like we're going to pay you less for a job that will, eventually pay more, but we're gonna pay you less as you work your way up.
Right. It means bottom of the ladder.
For like 5 years.
Yeah.
Here's your 5-year plan. In 5 years, you'll be making a livable wage, maybe.
Yeah, but someday you might be able to have a sweater like Grover.
Exactly.
If you work hard enough.
All right. We got more news to get to here. We're going to talk about these JFK documents and why the U.S. government is saying, hold on, we're not going to release the details about the JFK assassination, even though President Biden promised that he would. We're going to do that. But first, we want to tell you about our show sponsor, right?
I'm doing that too?
Yes, indeed you are, because
we're talking about hiring.
Yes, exactly.
And Indeed is one of the most powerful ways to actually hire. Indeed is a hiring partner that gets you the candidates that you really want. It will give you a short list of candidates, and it uses its awesome algorithm not to show you the most inappropriate resumes like we just spoke about, but the most appropriate resumes. You can attract, interview, and hire all at Indeed. You don't have to struggle through finding your own candidates. You don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to ghost you. With Indeed Instant Match, over 90% of employers get quality candidates as soon as they sponsor their first job, according to Indeed data. Candidates invite you to apply through Instant Match, who you invite to apply rather, so you can actually seek people out as well. They are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than those who just see it on search. Again, this is the problem. If you're just kind of blindly searching around, you're not sure exactly what you want, right? Then you're more likely to be ghosted, like the story we just told. But if you're actually invited to apply for a job based on your skill set, those people are more likely to be excited about the job that you're offering them. So get started right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your post at Indeed.com/invest. Again, it's worth it to save this money, to pay the right company to do it, because your time is worth more than that. Your time spent sifting through resumes that are never going to show up or are not appropriate for your job. So get this $75 credit at Indeed.com/invest. Just invest this time. Indeed.com/invest. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. So if you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed you do.
Indeed you do. And Francis Bragg in our chat says, I'm using Indeed right now. I know my mom, for her company, uses Indeed.com. So, in fact, we are actually in the process of hiring here at Morning Invest, and we're actually about to post on Indeed.com.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to be posting
I visited their office once for a CNBC piece that I did. And it was very impressive. And it was like, this was in the early 2000s, 2000-aughts, I guess, 2000 teens. What do we call them? Yeah. And it just became apparent that this was the awesome alternative to these black hole job sites that before you would just sort of like throw your resume down a black hole and never know where they landed. Indeed has a way to really match candidate to employer in a much less frustrating way. And so, I am familiar with this company and I give them a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay. What I'm not giving a thumbs up to today, though, is the news out about this JFK document dump that we were supposed to get from the federal government after so many years, finding out exactly what happened in the JFK assassination. And it's very strange that the White House is now basically saying, we are not going to release these documents. There's something in here that's very, very troubling. And we don't think that it'll harm the American people. It'll hurt our public interest, and it'll hurt our national security. In fact, the White House specifically says that in a memo that they released on Friday, said temporary continued postponement is necessary to protect against identifiable harm to military defense.
Okay.
Intelligence operations, law enforcement, or the conduct of foreign relations. That is of such, listen to this, that is of such gravity that it outweighs the public interest in immediate disclosure. Let me read that last sentence again. That it is of such gravity that it outweighs the public interest in immediate disclosure. So the public, really, it's of such gravity that we can't have disclosure of what happened in 1963?
Those do not seem like concerns that will ever be pacified. Like, if those are concerns now, they will be concerns for whenever this temporary delay ends, right? That's going to continue.
There's been such reporting on this, but excellent reporting. Again, I point you to, I forget his last name, his book Chaos, which just came out. He's been like 30 years as a journalist researching this. And a big part of the book has to do with the JFK assassination and the reporting around Jack Ruby specifically. That his reporting shows that, in fact, yes, organized crime and the CIA, the two go hand in hand. And the reason that Jack Ruby, who was not tracking Oswald, was literally put in place to go after and assassinate Lee Harvey Oswald 2 days after his arrest on Dealey Plaza. So again, all of this points back to the intelligence community and what they knew. And
why would they do this?
Again, why, right? Because we now know the details about what they were doing in Vietnam. We knew what they were doing, trying to stoke war in Vietnam, the intelligence community. And so what was their involvement here? Why won't they release this? It's specifically from the intelligence community that they're not releasing this. So Mark Zaid is he's a national security expert. He was on to talk about this on CNN. And I just want to play this because, Mark, I like what you had to say about this. You're on your side with this. Take a listen to why he thinks this is delayed right now.
Thanks. Well, look, there is the possibility there is some information within these files that still needs to protect it. And that was statutory language. So I'll give you one example. Lee Harvey Oswald, the suspected assassin, went to Mexico City in September of 1963. And we know he visited the Soviet and the Cuban embassies. We might have had, probably did, sources in those embassies, both human and technical. And protecting those sources, especially human, they could still be alive 58 years later. You know, they could be in their 80s right now. But what is really at stake here is getting the White House and the agencies to identify specifically what the harm is so that people understand and have trust in their government.
And I have heard it told that there are people, I don't know if you're among them, that think it's the CIA specifically that's slow walking this.
There's no doubt. Absolutely no. Most of these records are CIA records. And even though they have cited COVID, which is completely understandable, all the Freedom of Information Act lawsuits have been litigating for the last 2.5 years have been stymied by COVID. We all get that. But these records have been processed for the last 25 years. The agencies have been supposedly going through these that entire time. So to just now all of a sudden say, well, COVID required this extension is a little disingenuous.
So there's not much that the Trump administration and Biden administration agree on. But Trump delayed the release of some of this stuff also, and now Biden is. So why does it seem to be happening with presidents of both parties who disagree on everything else?
Yeah, because it's intelligence methods. I mean, it really does emanate from the agencies. The CIA in particular has, as we've said, has pushed this and pushed this. Look, a lot of the information actually doesn't depend or relate to what actually happened November 22nd. So there's no smoking gun in these documents, but there's a lot of information surrounding the event, CIA activities in Cuba trying to kill Castro in the years before, any other type of information that may relate to organized crime. You know, who knows? It's all about getting the fuller picture so that we have a better understanding of everything. And what we really want is this administration, as everyone before it, to comply with the statute. This was a congressional statute passed in 1992, and in many ways Congress dropped the ball too because they haven't done much oversight on it.
Okay, so Steve Bannon has to respond to subpoenas
Right.
and congressional direction, but our own congressional directives on open documents can be ignored.
Right. The CIA can just say, well, we're not going to do that. Again, this is what the intelligence community, like, they're not elected officials. You know, most of them, it's an entrenched, as you know, people want to talk about this deep state. It's an entrenched deep state that doesn't want the facts out about what actually happened, what nefarious things the CIA was doing in the 1960s. If you even started to dive into the research around what the CIA was doing in the 1960s, it would make your jaw drop. You would say that can't possibly be from the United States of America.
Oh, well, since 54. I mean, 54 is when they really ramped that up. But like, it makes you wonder. It's never about what they want to hide. It's about who. Like, this is about who they're protecting.
Right, and what is still happening that they don't want us questioning.
How they're trying to foment war in different parts of the world. I mean, heck, today we just learned about the secret military intervention that we're involved with in Ethiopia. Like, I mean, if you just start to dive in, we're literally helping the military and training in Ethiopia, and that's just now coming to light. Oh, now we found out last week or 2 weeks ago that we've been in Taiwan training their troops and helping them. Like, all of these secret missions around the world that we only learn about, when journalists kind of break the story. So what is in these documents that would have really embarrassed the CIA, I think is at the heart of this. Who were they pulling into their fold to use, whether it was organized crime, to go into Cuba to try to overthrow the Cuban government? You know, who were they actually partnering with at the very same time that Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General of the United States, JFK's brother, was trying to end organized crime?
Yeah.
You know, so the CIA is working with organized crime to overthrow the Cuban government and do nefarious things inside the United States at the very same time the Attorney General of the United States is trying to destroy organized crime. Do you see how things don't really work together?
And to boot, they're doing it with our money. They keep asking this question, how are we going to pay for it? Stop doing stuff like that, maybe?
Right.
I'm not for that.
So again, Joe Biden on the campaign trail said these are documents he was absolutely going to release during the congressional investigation of the JFK assassination back in the 1990s. They basically threw out the Warren Commission report, said it was garbage, that most of it was politically motivated. And they said that, yes, we did find there to be a conspiracy. That that in the congressional investigation in the 90s, they found there true to be a conspiracy.
Yeah.
They couldn't name a second person. They didn't have that, but they did believe that there were multiple people involved. And they said these records need to be released in 2021, and now they're not. I'm furious about it. I mean,
it's one of those things, though, where you just can't believe a candidate who says they want this open information that they cannot control, right? You can't muscle it out of the government that's bigger than you. So whoever says that, they don't know until they actually get into that. Although Biden, he must have had access to this information as vice president. And
or not. I mean,
you don't think he did?
No, I think you learned, even Bill Clinton admitted as much, that they don't have that even presidents are on a need to know basis. And very often with some of this information, they're not needing to know. So even it goes well beyond them on a level because they're there for 4 years or 8 years. And there's people within the military industrial complex and the intelligence community that are going to be there for 50 years. They're lifers.
Right.
And why would they tell a person, why would they give the secret information to Trump? The guy who is literally louder than our 4-year-old, right? I mean, you're going to tell him the secret stuff? You're going to tell Biden the secret stuff? The really, really deep state stuff. They're just not going to do it. And we know that from Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton said as much. He said, I was basically told we're on a need-to-know basis when he was digging around about
they
Area
cannot
51.
muscle these things out, right?
Yeah, because you can't make an informed decision as a commander-in-chief if you don't have all the information, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. You don't need all the information. You only have to find out about it later.
Well, Truman
do as we say, not as we do.
Wanted to do an audit of all the gold in Fort Knox. That was one of his main campaign promises. And he did it within 10 days. They only touched about 10% of that gold. It was a very incomplete audit. And once he got in there, he realized, oh, that's all I can do. And we did it. Okay. And we still don't have an accounting for the gold in Fort Knox.
And isn't it true that the auditors of Fort Knox were not even like gold experts?
What the press release around this completed audit said that the people who were involved in certain pieces of it were not experts in their assigned task, and that only 10% of the actual gold was actually counted, when what he promised was was a full audit, a full touch everything, weigh it, account it, write it down, that it didn't happen. And for whatever reason, he was not allowed to fulfill that promise because nobody really wanted it to become apparent how much the United States had spent or sent out of the gold that it had. It's like showing someone your checkbook balance, like the United States. Truman said he wanted it. And then once he saw the actual checkbook, he was like, that's fine. Yeah. That's all anyone needs to know.
I mean, you just think your government won't lie to you. All you need to do is look at something like Operation Paperclip.
I mean, I think that he actually did want that and then realized he could not publicize that information. But I just think it's good for us to remember as voters, doesn't matter what they say. They may not be able to fulfill those promises.
Yeah, once they get in there and they get the real truth from the intelligence agency, they're not allowed to do it. I was mentioning Operation Paperclip. Annie Jacobson is one. She's a fantastic journalist. She'll spend like 10 years on a subject. She wrote the amazing book on Area 51. If you haven't read her book on Area 51, about all of the secret programs at Area 51, she interviewed generals and people who worked at Area 51. It's fantastic. But her new book just came out. Is it out yet? I want to read this badly. This is next on my list. Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. Like, no one knew about it. No one knew that we got Nazis out of there to help us build our bomb programs, a nuclear program.
Through IBM? Was this specifically the IBM?
Was that the IBM thing? I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
But anyway.
Well, and think about McNamara, too, coming out before he passed away with his memoir and talked about the Gulf of Tonkin and how it was complete lie. They did not strike us first, and we went in and we caused a war that killed a lot of people. I mean, it's one of the stains on America, and it started from a lie. So in Bay of Pigs, I mean, think of all these operations that are complete lies to manufacture war.
Right, and we look like we have egg on our face, and all of the stuff that the CIA was doing to foment these wars. So no wonder that they don't want it to come out. So there you go. That's my latest on. Well, keep an eye on this JFK story. I'd like to do a deeper interview on that subject here on the show at some point, but that's where we are right now. Grover's ready for that. Someone says,
"Man, I just can't get over how nice that cardigan is."
Yeah, it's a beautiful cardigan. It's a pullover.
You want a matching one?
All right,
I do. I want one for a pizza
today.
and I.
If there wasn't a supply chain issue, I would gift you one for Christmas. I'll get my knitted needles out. Okay.
What is trending today?
This is a segment where we tell you what's trending on the internet, so you can seek it out and participate if you'd like, or at least be a bit more knowledgeable about what's cool, what's talked about, what's going on. George Carlin is trending because a comedian named Mort Saul died at the age of 94 today. Do you have the picture of him? Do you see
unfortunately, you put him in as a WebP. So you got to do a screenshot instead.
Sorry.
So I got to pull it here. But
I was not familiar with Mort Saul. Are you?
I've never. Oh wait, is this no? Okay, no. I saw he was like an amazing comedian that I never knew the name of. Like, as a fan of comedians, I can't believe I didn't know this guy.
Yeah. So apparently his shtick was all about doing comedy about bipartisan politics in a way that resonated with both sides. And that was, of course, what George Carlin was very good about. And apparently George Carlin had said that he was one of his heroes. So, of course, that surfaced videos of both comedians. And then people took this as another opportunity to relate it to the Dave Chappelle drama about his comedy as it relates to transgender people, because that is the topic du jour. But it also surfaced a lot of brilliant George Carlin pieces. And so if you just search on Twitter, George Carlin, you're going to see a lot of really great, timeless stuff.
I got to see him live in Maryville, Indiana. It was so cool.
Really?
This man, Mort Saul, or
George Carlin, yeah. And it's funny because like people were walking out, and he would he'd call out, hey, you came to a George Carlin concert. What did you expect? Like the guy's been around so long. How could you not know what his comedy was?
Yeah, you probably had his records. Like, are you surprised by this? Well, I was surprised. Like on the Netflix Dave Chappelle show, like he did it in Detroit, the most recent one, the one that's gotten all the controversy, right? And it was very funny. And there was like two white women, kind of 4 or 5 rows back. Now, this is probably like, I don't want to say an invite only, but it's to get tickets to a Dave Chappelle Netflix show.
Yeah.
Like, you got to like David Chappelle. You got to be in the know about Dave Chappelle, I think. And these two white women were sitting there. The daughter was laughing, but the mom was like...
I don't know that they were mother-daughter, but maybe...
It looked like mother-daughter.
Okay. Yes,
But
they
she was
looked
like-
offended by the jokes. I felt like they shelled out for it specifically to sit there and prove that they didn't think his comedy was... I thought that they...
Well, she was
placed
laughing. The daughter was
themselves there.
laughing.
At first, a little bit, yeah. And then you could tell that the director of that comedy special stopped taking that shot specifically to stop having the sourpuss faces. So I do not want to talk anymore about Dave Chappelle until the next thing trends, and then I'll tell you about it. But everybody and their mom is taking the opportunity to post videos of these two comedians and say they're doing it right and Dave Chappelle's doing it wrong or what have you. That's the conversation. Elizabeth Holmes is trending on news that she once fooled Betsy DeVos and her family's private investment firm out of $100 million.
Man, she keeps getting better and better, this woman.
A spokesperson from the DeVos family's investment firm says that she met several times with Elizabeth Holmes, and Holmes originally talked her into $50 million investment in Theranos, that was her company, and that the family would eventually agree to doubling that to $100 million. Now, neither of these blonde ladies are popular, and people love to hate them on Twitter. And I'm going to say that the trends around this story are gleeful on both sides. People are kind of like, oh, serves you right, Betsy DeVos. I don't want to say that I am gleeful about it at all. I'm saying that that is the general tone about the tweets around this thing is people are enjoying her misery of both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be on that train.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, the Queen is trending, as in the Queen of England, because she had to back out of the COP26 conference in Glasgow that we've been talking about. The President Biden is about to depart for. It isn't a far trip for her. She lives in England. And
But her doctor said she's got to take it easy.
Yes, and the conference is in Scotland. But she has been having health issues lately. They said that she went to the hospital this week, but it was like the way they framed it was like she nipped over for a little visit, unplanned visit. It was like
She nipped over.
you know, and I'm not
She
going
did a little skip over to the hospital just
she
to
had
get checked out.
go to the Juilliard Hospital.
She just had some scones and tea at the hospital.
Unplanned jaunt over to the hospital.
I still am I the only one that still finds it weird that we have places that have king and queen still? Like
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And she is a figurehead. She does not really have anyway. But people
So they may
put
actually, if she's not around much longer, we will have another king again.
Yes, we
In
will.
England, yeah.
Her son
Come on, you're the monarch. person.
Charles is next in line. Sorry,
And he's like 80, isn't he?
I am
wait,
not
Charles,
a monarchist.
Diana's Charles?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is
wow.
next in line.
Yeah.
Where
so you
was
wanted
I?
this picture for a reason because she's instead of going to the conference.
Yes, because reports are that her doctors are asking her to not travel. They're also asking her not to have a nightly cocktail. That has been reported. And instead, the Queen sent a video message for the environmental conference.
Yeah.
So she's zooming in.
So yeah, even the Queen has to zoom into or Microsoft Teamsing into a conference.
And
Yes.
she's like, "Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you see me okay?"
I am not a cat. I am not a cat.
Okay, Spanx is trending because the
Oh, no.
company was sold to Blackstone, and CEO Sarah Blakely celebrated the sale of her company by gifting her employees, all of them, 2 first-class tickets to anywhere they'd like to go in the world, plus $10,000 each for the trip or for whatever it is. Would you like to play this?
I would.
And
Okay,
one
we'll
pair of
play-
Spanx.
I'm sure they have unlimited number of Spanx.
No audio.
No audio.
Oh, gotta switch it to A this time, right? A instead of M. Is that right?
Yeah.
First
No,
class tickets
yep.
to anywhere in the world.
Look at these people are
class ticket.
crying.
Well, it's actually. I'm going to go back to the beginning because I watched this whole thing and she was crying at the beginning. It was really touching. And she had this idea for this company. And she's like, people laughed at me about it. And she wrote on her vision board, like, imagine, like, she's just starting a company, like anybody watching this show, right?
Mm-hmm.
She, you know, I think she was single woman at the time.
She's tired of getting muffin top in her jeans.
Right. She wanted to like tighten up the butt or whatever.
Yeah.
Totally supportive of that. And she came up with an idea for a company, and everyone laughed at her and said, you can't do it, which is always the thing that people who are unsuccessful around you, you know, you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if 5 people around you tell you can't do something, then maybe it's time to get 5 new friends. Anyway, so she decided to buck the system and try it. And here's what she had to say. And she started crying.
In Virginia Highlands, on the whiteboard in my room, I wrote a goal down. And I said, this company will one day... Sorry. I said, this company will one day be worth $20 million. And everybody laughed at me, and, you know, I said, I really believe that. And so to stand here today and think about what we've been able to create and what we've been able to do.
So anyway, that's she.
Well, now her company sale was supposedly valued at $1.2 billion, not $20 million.
Wow, spanks you very much.
Yes. You know, Spanx is more than just like suck in your belly undergarments. Now they do
like yoga pants.
Yoga pants. They do jeans. They do bras. They do bathing suits. So she has, she really pioneered the idea of slimming fit clothes just to help women. It's not about, you know, making your body look smaller. It's about making your body look more supported. And I like it. I like the idea of it.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
Yes, it is. There's a really good How I Built This podcast episode with her as well. So, okay.
I love that podcast.
Yeah, it's great.
Guy
I do
Raz.
too.
Yeah.
And he has an accompanying book, I believe, but I have not read it. Kyle Rittenhouse is trending. This is the, shall we call him a man or a kid? He was 17 when he opened fire at a Black Lives Matter rally. He has since turned 18, so he is being tried. And a judge at his trial has ruled that the men he shot can be referred to as rioters or looters, but they should not be called victims because the judge says that is too loaded of a term. The cross counsel says, so is rioters and looters. But this is the judge's demand. And obviously people have a lot of WTF to say about that.
Okay.
Including me.
Yeah.
That's crazy, in my opinion. And we'll move on from that. Ed Sheeran is trending because he is promoting a new album and he had a whole big press tour planned, but he cannot do any of that because he was diagnosed positive with COVID. He does not appear to be sick, but he has to be in quarantine. He even was going to host SNL. And now he cannot. And so SNL is scrambling for a last minute musical guest. And so now he instead released what he's calling the Tiny Desk concert because he's doing it from his home. I suppose all of those musicians playing with him are also quarantining with him
together. Then they're just
they must be, right? In order to just, I guess he's just
like the Billy Joel song, and we will all go down together.
It must be, right? Because now those guys, I mean, maybe they had to anyway because they had been practicing, rehearsing. I don't know.
Side note, I love those Tiny Desk concerts, the NPR.
Yeah, I do too.
NPR? Tiny,
yes.
You know, they usually do it like in this NPR studios, but I guess they're doing it in his house.
That does appear to be his house. Yeah.
To me, it kind of replaces what used to be the storytellers, like VH1 storytellers.
Right, or MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, I loved MTV Unplugged.
Oh,
and so
man.
why don't they do that anymore? That was so good.
Because MTV doesn't like music.
Yeah, exactly. MTV doesn't do music anymore. It's all reality stuff.
True. Yeah. Fitted in between a Real World episode. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. That's all.
That's not still a
all
show,
that's
is
trending.
it? Oh my gosh.
The Real World, they did a reunion recently.
Oh, geez. I actually I made a video and applied for that show way back when. I took my video camera out in the barn and made a video on why I should be on that show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like within the first few seasons. So
And-
that's how long ago.
Wow. And did
they ghosted
ghost
me.
you?
Not a word. Yep.
See,
that's what happens.
they're on the list.
I even
ghost
bought
them
new
right
clothes.
back.
Man. Yeah, you bought new clothes for it. See, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
People buy, people.
I bought cowboy boots just to play up the farm life.
Brutal.
It is.
No.
See, you're still
Just
hurting
think
from it.
Yeah. Like, just think if I would have been on there, you'd be on my show right now.
Perhaps. I have a friend who was on the second season, like way back in the time. And yeah, I don't know if she thinks that was still an awesome experience.
I went to a wedding once at you know where the Real World House in Philadelphia?
No.
It was like a bank that they converted into the Real World House, I think.
No.
Like historic and like right in the center of Philadelphia. And I went there. Now it was like some sort of a center for weddings and gatherings or whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's my real world story.
I mean, it was very progressive TV at the time. It's not now that all reality shows are not nascent, but
right.
At the
wasn't
time,
that really
it was
the first of its kind? That or Survivor? I don't remember, but
I think Real World preceded Survivor. I'm fairly certain about that.
Yeah, I think the beginning of the downfall was Honey Boo Boo. That's where it all fell apart.
or the beginning
Osbourne.
the beginning of awesomeness.
I don't know, man.
Honey Boo Boo. Just think, Honey Boo Boo gave us like Teen Bride or Teen Mom, and then what else did we get?
And what's the one with the little girls with the pageants?
Oh,
Pageants parents or something like that.
Pageant babies or whatever it was
I
called.
don't know what it's called.
And then also, what else do we have? Hoarders.
Now that's a good show.
Yeah, Grover likes Hoarders.
That's wholesome television right there.
Hoarders is a good show. Yeah, I mean, really gets to show you. It really gets to show. Oh, Dance Moms. People are pointing that out. Yeah.
Oh,
Dance
yeah,
Moms.
Dance Moms.
Yeah.
I used to like A Wedding Story on Lifetime television for women.
I liked the Flipper Flop. You know, like Flippin' Holmes show. Yeah.
You know, I used to like Naked and Afraid, but then when I worked with the guys at Orange County Chopper out in New York, I worked with one of their camera guys, and he's like, yeah, he goes off camera, they'd put shoes on. It was not. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they usually had like an ambulance just on the other, like ready to do stuff when they were doing sketchy situations. He's like, yeah, it was all just.
Oh man!
You know that guy, Guy Fieri, the guy that has the blonde hair.
He's my doppelganger. A lot of people are like, you look like Guy Fieri. I'm like, I do not.
Put yourself on camera then. I can't. Guy, let's do a side by side. Guy.
He did he won the Who Wants to Be the Next Food Network star. That's how he actually got that job. I watched that season.
My hair's not all spiked up, but
let me get a picture up here. I'm trying to do it slow here.
Of Guy Fieri.
Yeah. All right. Here's.
No.
I mean,
I guess
maybe I don't have sunglasses that I could throw on, but if I
anyway, he told me because I interviewed him a couple of times. He was on the show, and he was telling me during a commercial break. He was telling me that because they shoot so many of those episodes for.
Which ones? The
drivers and dine-ins or dine-ins and drivers?
Yeah.
Diners, drivers, or diners, drive-ins and dives. Wait, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it just flows off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. And so he told me, he's like, oh, no. He's like, we fly the car right outside the location, and we just get some shots like driving up. He's like, because I'm like, are you driving? Because they make it seem like he's driving across the country.
Yeah.
To all of these different stops.
Yeah. In a old sports car.
Yeah, they bring it in like a truck and they just like pop it out. And he's like, yeah, they fly me to all these different spots, and then I just jump out and I get in the car. Like,
could you imagine though, like 4 miles a gallon?
Right. He's driving along Route 66, just like looking for the next burger place.
And he's like this one.
Hey, I found a place, you know. So.
I have a friend who was one of his producers, actually.
Really?
For the first season of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Yeah.
Is that on like CBS?
It was one of my producers on CBS, actually. Oh. And she was I don't want to say her name, but you could look it up yourself. Okay. But she was the daughter of a main network news anchor.
She's the daughter of a main network news anchor.
She had, she had the in to work at any network she wanted. And
Charles Gibson? I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing names out.
Yes. Her dad is Charlie Gibson. And, but she chose this like super hard job because she wanted to like not take the cushy job and just get in at the network. And, and she's a really good producer. And that show is a nightmare to do. I mean, it just was so hard to do because you're traveling so much. And
Yeah.
But she did like working with him.
Do you ever see Guy Fieri without his hair like this? He's like unrecognizable. Like you can't even tell.
Why would I see him like that? We don't know each other.
Guy Fieri, with non-colored hair.
This is not him.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. That is absolutely not him.
That's not him.
Come on, it is.
You're just searching around Google Trends.
No, I'm not. Come on, that's him.
That's not even him. These are just people pretending to be their doppelganger. This is the Thomas Clayton.
I once saw a BuzzFeed thing. Look at see. That's not even. That's the guy from Modern Family.
Modern Family. This is ridiculous.
I like this is my favorite.
We don't really watch much network TV anymore, so we're probably.
It's the
I mean,
same
the hairline.
guy.
The hairline doesn't match up, man. Unless he wears toupees.
All right, we're done here. It's time to go. We'll tell you tomorrow.
James Figueroa says it's him. See, in our chat, James is never wrong. James is never wrong. Anyway.
Never.
But they did say that, David, you're better looking than Guy Fieri.
Why, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna go as Guy Fieri for Halloween.
Nobody would know who that is.
No, you know what? Your Freddie Mercury was awesome.
Yes, that was the best
You like my
one.
Freddie Mercury?
Yes, I did. I loved your Freddie Mercury. You got to show people.
Let me see if I can find that.
And then,
do you have that little video I made you?
Do you have the one of where were the Matrix too? There was one year where I thought that was pretty good.
Here was my Freddie Mercury, and Natalie didn't know what I was going to be, so she came home, and I bought these jeans. I went out and bought the tank top, got the mustache, slicked my hair back, and she came home. And it's not just any Freddie Mercury; it's Freddie Mercury from Live Aid.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do the Matrix one. We also once were Neo and Trinity. This was the only couples one we've ever done. Was the Matrix. That was fun. And then let's see. Do not put those on.
You don't want that one?
Don't.
All right,
Clayton.
Okay, I won't show that one.
I will
right here and now. I will ghost
you. Embarrass me.
She went as Flashdance, or what's her name?
I did.
Jessica Biel.
Yes, I did that. From Oh, What a Feeling.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite. This was my son.
Look how cute he is.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
He's only 3.
Love that picture.
It was really hard to find all of those individual
I'm trying
pieces.
to find, see if I can find it here.
I want to say it was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just give me a second.
Halloween 2017. So
that.
Do you know, here's a little quiz for you. What was born on Halloween? What that we talk about all the time? Bitcoin. The Bitcoin white paper came out Halloween 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Bitcoin is turning, let's see what 2008 is turning 13 then?
Wow.
Right?
And Bitcoin is celebrating by taking a dump today.
Yeah, it seems.
I'm going to do that too later.
What?
Buy some
Celebrate.
Celebrate by taking a dump.
Let me see if I can't find this.
Okay, forget it.
All right, I'll try to find it. But anyway, you got so Natalie tomorrow has our pumpkin recipe.
I will
soup
put that
recipe.
in the newsletter.
Okay, I think you're wrong on the date of this Halloween, but anyway.
All right.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. So much for joining us on the show. Really, really appreciate this. And don't forget to sign up. I mean, I love in the chat. TJ really loves Shiba Coin. People really love Shiba. Shelly Kelly.
And we do have a couple YouTube super chats.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, get to them.
Yeah, I'm going there right now. Okay.
Do you have any music, or did that die also?
It died. It for some reason sometimes it just goes out and there's nothing you can do. All right, Jeremy Burt. Fiat currency is belief backed. That is for sure.
Fiat, yes, absolutely.
Good point. There's never been a fiat currency that has survived ever.
There it is.
Tyrell ML, Operation Paperclip, Watch Hunters on Prime.
Oh, cool. Okay. It's on Hulu. There's an Operation Paperclip show, movie, limited series.
Oh, wow. Those costumes look awesome.
Yeah, this was 2017. You're right about that.
Nailed it.
2017.
Margaret Wallace, Social Security needs to raise. Biden says $15 an hour, while my Social Security is $5.41. Husband, $5.10 per hour, if average, not even minimum wage.
Jeez.
Wait. Per hour? Social Security is what?
Like if you average it out for like a 40-hour work week.
Okay, because
right?
the Social Security is not paid per hour, so they're saying that if you were paid for 40, but you're about to get a 7.2% increase in January, so that would be.
So what's 7% of $5.41?
I'm going to do that math on my iPad. Let's see if I can.
Okay, good.
But even still, that's not going to buy that $40 turkey. What did you say? It's $5.40?
$5.41. 41
cents times 0.072, I think it was. So you're going to get a 38-cent raise per hour. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's not.
Now it's officially a retirement.
Yeah.
Right.
Ames, the Fed buyback are part of the quantitative easing strategy. It's supposed to be a legal roundabout way to add liquidity into the market and have banks lend more. But that's the thing. They always bail these banks out and tell them that it's to lend us money, and then they buy jets. So.
Okay, that would be fine if it were like a one-time relief. Maybe. But it's a perversion. And any perversion of market forces has its consequences.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I think a fiat currency could work if they were able to keep it backed by something. It's like it always gets removed from what it's backed by. You know,
Yes.
when Nixon removed the gold standard, that was the end of the US dollar.
Yes.
That was all the super chats.
Okay. We had one just now about what about Trump's rant on the Midas touch. I don't know what that is yet, so maybe we'll touch on it tomorrow during trending.
Yeah, maybe we'll have it up. I don't know if you're talking about Midas Touch, the three brothers that created the company Midas Touch, which is a Democratic group that had posted a bunch of videos back during the summer, or last year, during the summer, during the campaign. I don't know if that's what that's about. Anyway, I didn't hear much about it, so we'll look into it for tomorrow. But anyway. All right, everyone, thanks for watching Morning Invest. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And also, please don't forget to check out our daily newsletter, which is totally free. Just go to morninginvest.com to grab it. Again, it's very, very easy. Also, I just posted a video. I want you to go check it out.
Nice catch.
Like the Mr. Miyagi chopsticks.
Yeah.
It's like a bug in here. Go over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Clayton Morris. I posted a video there on Tesla last night and why I think this company is going to $1,300 a share. So go check out that. Here it is. Here's the video. Again, I'll link it up in the description below, but go to youtube.com/Clayton Morris to check out that video on Tesla that I did a lot of research on. So hopefully if you're interested in that, you're interested in investing and want to learn more about crypto and stock market and investing and making money, go check that out. And David, where can people find you?
I have to say really quick before I say that is I think a better fly catching scene was Bruce Willis in 9.5 Yards where he's like, do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
He caught the fly, then he goes like, and then spits it out.
Ew. That's how you spread disease.
Yeah, probably, but it was just a funny scene. You can find me over at youtube.com/Overland Geeks, and I talk about minimalism and overlanding. And I'm actually going to soon be interviewing Clayton because I want to start, like, after I get my lawyer fees and everything caught up, I want to start investing. And Clayton's going to help me do that because I have no clue. And I know when we were talking a lot about crypto and stuff before, a lot of you showed interest in learning the basics and what to, like, how to do it. And so Clayton's going to help me from that baseline level, which he's also doing over on his own channel. Did you post your first vlog yet, by the way, of your mining?
The Bitcoin mine? No, I gotta finish editing that. I've had so many other videos that I wanted to get out here, so I will get that out hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too because I want to see that Bitcoin farm.
Yeah, it's up and running. I checked on it today. It's doing well. So. I checked on my farm today. My Bitcoin potatoes that are growing.
You went to pet it?
Yeah,
Just
I did actually.
do not water that garden, okay?
Yeah, do not water your Bitcoin mine. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday edition. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Where'd Grover go? He's gone.
He's out on the road with Rover.
with Tover.